People think failure happens in one moment, one bad decision, one lost job, one closed door. But real failure moves differently. Quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. Until one day, someone wakes up and realizes life became smaller than it was supposed to be. Tonight's story isn't really about business or factories or money. It's about something far more dangerous. What happens when people stop believing in themselves? What happens when the world decides someone ordinary has already reached their limit? And what happens when that person decides to keep learning anyway? Because in a small Pennsylvania town, a powerful CEO made a decision that looked smart on paper. A small garage disappeared. A single father lost almost everything he built. People assumed his story was over. They were wrong. Because nobody saw what Daniel Mercer carried quietly for years. Nobody saw the knowledge, the discipline, the promise he refused to break. Nobody saw what hard seasons had built inside him, and nobody imagined that an abandoned factory everyone forgot would become the beginning of something bigger than success, bigger than money, bigger than revenge. This is a story about quiet strength, about hope in dark seasons, about resilience through education, about seeds planted long before people noticed them growing, and about a father who discovered that survival was never the final destination. If you've ever felt underestimated, overlooked, pushed aside, forced to start over, or made to believe your best years were already behind you, stay until the end, because the final lesson Daniel Mercer learns might change how you see your own life, and maybe something even bigger, because difficult seasons do not always destroy people. Sometimes, they teach people how to build. This is life-changing stories, where hope survives hard seasons, where ordinary people build extraordinary futures, and where tomorrow begins long before anyone else can see it. Nobody in Cedar Ridge thought Daniel Mercer was building anything important. That was the problem. People only notice growth when it becomes impossible to ignore. They notice the building after it's finished, the success after it arrives, the victory after someone survives. But they almost never notice the years before, the lonely work, the quiet discipline, the mornings nobody applauds, the promises nobody else remembers, 3 years after losing his wife. Daniel Mercer had become invisible, not completely. People still waved when he walked through town. The cashier at Miller's Grocery knew his name. The mailman asked about his daughter. Customers still trusted him, but invisible in a different way. The dangerous kind. The kind where people think they understand your limits. Cedar Ridge sat in western Pennsylvania. One traffic light downtown. A diner older than most of the buildings around it. Cold winters. Factory history. Hard-working people. The kind of place where people remembered who your parents were. The kind of place where people noticed when life knocked someone down. Daniel's garage sat near the edge of town. Mercer Industrial Repair. Nothing flashy. 3 service bays, concrete floors, steel shelves, tool cabinets organized with almost painful precision. Every wrench had a place. Every socket belonged somewhere. Every morning started exactly the same. 10 a.m. Coffee. Notebook. 3 questions. The ritual started 2 weeks after Emma died. At first, Daniel thought Sophie had stopped talking because she was angry, or confused, or hurting. Maybe all 3. She had been 6 years old then. Too young to understand loss, old enough to feel it anyway. Emma had started something years before. 3 questions every day. 3 things worth wondering about. 3 reasons to keep learning. Daniel kept it alive after she was gone, not because he thought it would fix anything. Because some promises don't disappear when people do. That October morning, cold rain tapped quietly against the garage windows. Daniel lay beneath an old utility truck, socket wrench turning slowly, methodically, the way people move when they've done something 10,000 times. 9-year-old Sophie Mercer sat near the front desk, dark auburn hair, oversized hoodie, pencil moving carefully across math homework. Beside her sat Rusty, a stuffed fox worn soft with time, one ear folded permanently. Orange fur faded from years of small hands holding it close. Emma bought Rusty at a roadside gift shop 6 months before doctors found what they weren't supposed to find. Sophie hadn't slept without him since. 3 questions, Daniel called from beneath the truck. Their ritual. Always. Sophie tapped her pencil softly. Thinking. She took questions seriously. Very seriously. Okay, she said. Why do factories close? Daniel stopped moving, only briefly. Why do machines wear out slower when people take care of them? Pause. Then, why do people quit learning when they get older? Silence. Longer silence. Rain outside. Metal cooling. Quiet. Daniel rolled slowly out from beneath the truck, grease across his hands. Gray work shirt, worn jacket, tired eyes, strong eyes. The kind built by hard seasons. The first one gets complicated, he said. I like complicated. I know. Tiny smile gone quickly, always. Daniel leaned against the workbench, thinking carefully, because children remember answers, especially important ones. Factories don't usually close all at once, he said quietly. Most things don't. Sophie waited. Patient. Always patient. Sometimes people stop investing. Sometimes people stop adapting. Sometimes they stop learning. Her pencil moved slowly, writing. Emma used to write answers down too. Notebooks everywhere, kitchen counters, bedside tables, car dashboard. Ideas mattered in their house. Questions mattered more. Daniel answered the second question, then the third. The third took longest. It always did. People don't quit learning because they get older, Daniel said softly. Most people quit learning because life convinces them they already know enough. Sophie wrote that down, word for word. The garage wasn't large, never needed to be. Daniel built it himself 11 years earlier, one wall at a time, one customer at a time, one honest repair at a time. People trusted him, not because he talked more, because he fixed things correctly. There was an old framed paper hanging beside the office doorway, slightly crooked, yellow edges, Emma's handwriting, simple words, 5 words. Never stop learning. Daniel looked at it every morning, every single morning. Still, the front bell chimed. Owen Hayes stepped inside, 58, former manufacturing supervisor, Daniel's closest friend. Carried coffee, always coffee, morning, morning. Owen set 2 cups down, looked around quietly. Something felt different, heavy. Daniel noticed immediately. What? Owen folded newspaper slowly. Local business section, public notice, corporate expansion announcement, large headline, Vanguard Mobility Systems, National Manufacturing Company, new advanced production facility, Cedar Ridge expansion. Projected investment $210 million. Daniel skimmed lower, then stopped, completely. Industrial redevelopment zone, North Commerce Corridor, land acquisition scheduled. Redevelopment footprint highlighted. His garage sat directly inside it. Rain continued quietly outside. Cold, steady, unmoving. Sophie looked up. What happened? Daniel said nothing, not immediately. Owen watched him, carefully. The dangerous thing about hardworking people is they spend years building lives quietly, which means most people never notice when someone powerful decides to erase them. Daniel folded newspaper once, carefully, too carefully, then looked toward Emma's note hanging beside the office. Never stop learning. Outside, rain kept falling, and somewhere 200 miles away. Inside a glass office overlooking downtown Pittsburgh, someone named Victoria Sterling had already made a decision. She had absolutely no idea what she was about to destroy or what she was about to build. Daniel Mercer did not panic. That surprised Owen Hayes. It surprised Sophie too, because some people react to bad news immediately. Anger, fear, frustration. Daniel rarely moved that way. Hard years change people, not always into stronger people, sometimes into quieter people. The next morning arrived colder than usual. Pennsylvania. Mornings in late October carried a certain heaviness. Gray. Sky wet pavement, wind sharp enough to. Remind people winter wasn't far away. 10. Coffee notebook 3 questions, routine. Mattered, especially when life started changing. Sophie walked into the kitchen wearing Emma's old oversized flannel shirt at the sleeves still covered half her hands. Daniel noticed. He always noticed. You sleep okay? He asked a little. Bad dream? No. Tiny pause. Maybe. Daniel nodded once. Some conversations needed time. The notebook sat open between them. Emma's notebook, years ago, before hospitals, before impossible decisions, before Cedar Ridge. Learned how quiet grief could become. Emma called it the learning journal. Not because she believed school fixed everything, because she believed curiosity saved people. Sophie held her pencil, thinking. 3 questions. Daniel said softly, okay. She looked down, thinking hard. Always thinking hard. How do companies get really big? Daniel stayed quiet. Second, can people lose things without doing anything wrong? The kitchen felt smaller suddenly. Third, tiny pause. How do you know when you should stop fighting for something? Silence. Long silence. Rain touched windows softly. Daniel stared at the notebook. Not because he didn't know answers, because important answers deserved respect. Companies get big by solving problems people care about, he said quietly. Good companies keep solving them, Sophie wrote carefully. Question 2 took longer. Sometimes people lose things they don't deserve to lose. That's not fair. No, it isn't. Question 3 stayed between them longest. The dangerous questions always did. People shouldn't fight for everything, Daniel said softly. They should fight for things that matter. And how do you know? He looked toward Emma's framed note hanging near the doorway. Never stop learning. Then quietly. The things that help people grow. School bus headlights appeared. Outside, morning moving forward, life. Refusing to wait. Again by 9:30 a.m., Daniel sat across from a man named Miles. Donovan. Corporate Acquisitions Specialist. Vanguard Mobility Systems 42. Perfect suit, perfect posture, perfect smile. The kind built from negotiation training and expensive boardrooms. Mercer Industrial Repair suddenly felt very small. Miles noticed. Daniel noticed Miles noticing Mr. Mercer. Miles said smoothly, Daniel. Daniel. Tablet opened. Documents organized, numbers ready. Corporate people liked numbers. Numbers behaved. People didn't. Vanguard Mobility Systems is excited about Cedar Ridge, I'm sure. We believe redevelopment creates opportunity. Daniel said nothing. Miles continued. Your property falls inside our primary redevelopment footprint. I read that. Good. Tablet rotated slowly. Purchase offer, land valuation, relocation assistance, 3 times market value. Most people in Cedar Ridge would have signed immediately. Daniel didn't touch it. Miles noticed that too. Competitive offer, Miles said. No. Tiny pause. Excuse me? Miles smiled politely. Corporate smile, practiced smile. We haven't reviewed numbers yet. I know, then. No. Silence. Longer now. Daniel. Miles said carefully. This creates long-term economic benefit. Maybe. Job creation. Good. Regional growth. Good. Then, my daughter grows up here. Silence. Miles adjusted posture. Subtle. Professional. But this is commercial property. No. Excuse me? It's not. Daniel folded hands quietly. That's where my daughter learned multiplication. Silence. That's where my wife built learning journals. Silence. That's where people trusted me with things they couldn't fix. Miles looked uncomfortable now. Very slightly. Corporate systems prepare people for numbers, not memories. Some things aren't inventory. Daniel said quietly. Meeting ended 7 minutes later. Too quickly, too quietly. Dangerous combination outside. Cold. Wind moved through Cedar Ridge. Leaves rolled across empty parking spaces. October moving toward November. Miles sat inside his company vehicle, hands resting on steering. Wheels thinking, not angry, not frustrated. Thinking. Phone. Call Victoria Sterling. CEO Vanguard Mobility Systems. Voice. Calm, controlled, efficient. How'd it go? Not ideal. Silence. Complicated? Somewhat. Price issue? No. Environmental concern? No. Victoria leaned back inside her Pittsburgh office. Glass walls. Steel skyline. growth charts, expansion maps. Future, always future. What then, she asked. Miles hesitated. He doesn't want to sell. Silence, long silence. What do you mean doesn't want to sell? He refused. Victoria stood slowly, walked toward city skyline, thinking. She built Vanguard by moving quickly, decisively. Momentum created advantage. Momentum built companies. Momentum changed industries. Everyone sells eventually, she said quietly. Miles said, nothing, because sometimes, successful. People become so accustomed to movement. They stop recognizing. Conviction. 3 days later, Daniel received. Notice, insurance review, operational. Inspection. Vendor supply delay. Then another issue, then another. Small things, manageable things, strange things. Individually, nothing alarming. Together, something felt wrong. Owen noticed immediately. This isn't coincidence. Daniel adjusted inventory paperwork. Quietly. No, Daniel, no, what? We don't know enough yet. Feels obvious. Maybe the dangerous thing about intelligent people is they rarely react to what they feel. They react to what they know. That Friday night, Sophie stood quietly inside the garage, homework finished, rusty. The Fox tucked beneath one arm, machines silent, work bays. Empty, different, wrong. Dad? Yeah. Can I ask one more question? Always. Are we okay? Daniel looked around. Mercer Industrial Repair, concrete floors, steel shelves. Emma's note, questions, years, memories, purpose. Then quietly. Not yet. Silence, small silence, dangerous silence. Then, but we're getting ready to build outside. Cold. Rain returned, and somewhere inside Vanguard. Headquarters view. Victoria Sterling approved another phase of redevelopment, completely unaware. She had just started a problem money couldn't solve. Mercer Industrial Repair closed 19 days later. Not because Daniel Mercer gave up, not because customers stopped coming, not because the garage failed. It closed because pressure moves quietly when powerful people want something badly enough. Insurance complications, vendor disruptions, delayed approvals, unexpected compliance reviews. One thing, then another, until surviving became harder than rebuilding. The final morning arrived colder than Daniel expected. November had settled fully over Cedar Ridge. Gray sky, bare trees, wind carrying winter toward Pennsylvania one slow mile at a time. Daniel unlocked the garage at 5:10 a.m., same as always. Coffee. Notebook. 3 questions. Routine mattered, especially when life stopped making sense. Sophie sat quietly near the front office. Rusty tucked beside her. Emma's old learning journal open across the desk. Pencil moving, thinking, always thinking. Daniel stood inside Bay 2 longer than usual. Workbench, worn concrete, steel shelves. Every mark inside that garage carried history. Sophie noticed. She always noticed. Dad, yeah, you keep looking around little. No. Tiny pause, big. Daniel smiled. Very slightly. Gone quickly. Always. 3 questions, he said. She pulled notebook closer. Thinking. Rain tapped softly against garage windows. Question 1. Pause. Can people lose something and still win? Daniel leaned quietly against the tool cabinet. Question 1 felt heavier lately. Question 2. She looked toward Emma's framed note. Never stop learning. Can hard things become good things later? Silence. Long silence. Then, question 3. Very quietly. What if we don't know what comes next? Daniel looked toward the empty service bays, toward years, toward memories, toward promises. The dangerous thing about losing something important is people think pain comes from what disappeared. Most pain comes from not knowing what replaces it. He crouched beside her chair, same level, always her level. People lose things, he said softly. That part happens. And then people decide who they're becoming next. Sophie wrote carefully, word for word. Emma used to do that too. Question 2 took longer. Hard things don't automatically become good things. No? No. Then how? Daniel looked around one last time. The people inside hard things decide what they become. Question 3 stayed longest. Dangerous questions always did. What if we don't know what comes next? Sophie repeated quietly. Daniel stared toward the garage doors. Closed. Still. Final. Then softly. Then we learn. By noon. Mercer Industrial Repair stood empty. Toolboxes loaded. Equipment moved, shelves cleared, history packed into trailers. Owen Hayes arrived carrying coffee. Always coffee. Only today, he carried something else. Folded paper. Old paper. Auction notice. Daniel noticed immediately. What's that? Owen leaned against empty workbench. You remember East Hollow Textile? Silence, Daniel did. Everyone in Cedar Ridge remembered. East Hollow Textile Manufacturing sat abandoned 8 miles outside town. 23 acres, brick structure, broken windows, closed 20 years. Once employed 600 people. Then automation changed everything. The factory died slowly, painfully, like old towns sometimes do. Nobody touched it after. Too expensive, too damaged, too forgotten. Owen handed over paperwork. County redevelopment auction. 2 weeks. Starting bid. Lower than Daniel expected. Much lower. What am I looking at? Daniel asked. Opportunity. No. Yeah. No. Daniel. Silence. Cold wind moved through empty garage. Owen folded arms. I know you. No. 12 years. Still no. You've fixed industrial systems half this county couldn't solve. Repair work. No. You understand machinery. No. Daniel. Owen stepped closer. Voice quieter now. Emma understood systems. Silence. Dangerous silence. She built optimization models. Silence. You helped her. No. Lie. Daniel said nothing, because Owen already knew. Years ago, before Sophie, before hospitals, before grief reshaped life. Emma Mercer worked industrial systems engineering, manufacturing flow, efficiency modeling, adaptive operations. Daniel never worked for those companies, never needed to. But late nights create strange things. Kitchen table conversations, factory drawings, supply chain discussions, optimization problems, learning, always learning. Emma loved learning. Daniel loved Emma, which meant eventually. Daniel learned too, not officially, quietly, dangerously. The dangerous thing about capable people is they rarely announce capability. Most just keep working. Daniel folded auction notice carefully, too carefully. What would I even do with a factory? Owen smiled. Small, knowing, dangerous, build. That night, Sophie found him sitting alone inside their kitchen. Auction paper open, Emma's learning journal beside it. Rain tapping softly against windows. Again, always rain lately. Dad? Yeah, what is that? Old building. Broken? Very. She walked closer, looked at faded factory picture. Brick walls, empty parking lots. Rust, decay, forgotten things. Looks sad. Little. No more tiny paws. Big. Daniel smiled again, very slightly. Gone quickly. Always. Sophie touched picture gently. What happened to it? People stopped believing it mattered. Silence, long silence. Then, what happens now? Daniel looked toward Emma's note hanging near the hallway. Never stop learning. Then toward auction notice. Then toward Sophie. Then quietly, I don't know yet. Truth. Real truth. Children deserve that. She nodded slowly, thinking, always thinking. Then something strange happened. She picked up Rusty, placed him carefully beside auction paper, like she was making room, like she already decided something. What are you doing? Daniel asked. We're staying to help. Silence. Heavy. Silence. Good silence. The kind that changes people. 2 nights later, Daniel Mercer stood outside East Hollow Textile Manufacturing. Cold wind, dark sky, broken windows. 20 years forgotten, 20 years abandoned, 20 years waiting. The building looked dead. Most people would have driven away. Daniel didn't, because hidden inside abandoned things, sometimes, opportunity waits quietly for people willing to keep learning. The first thing Daniel Mercer learned about rebuilding a factory was that factories don't care about hope. Hope doesn't repair wiring. Hope doesn't replace broken systems. Hope doesn't bring old buildings back to life. People do. Knowledge does. Discipline does. 3 weeks after East Hollow Textile Manufacturing entered county auction, Daniel Mercer owned 23 acres of problems. The county clerk looked surprised when he signed paperwork. The banker looked concerned. Owen Hayes looked excited. Sophie looked confused. Only Daniel looked calm, which worried Owen more than anything. "You know something I don't," Owen said. "No, that's a lie. Little lie. No." Tiny smile. Gone quickly. Always. Cold December air moved across East Hollow's empty parking lot. Snow gathered against broken loading docks. 20 years abandoned. 20 years forgotten. 20 years waiting. Daniel unlocked the main entrance. Metal groaned loudly. Dust drifted through weak morning sunlight. Sophie stepped carefully beside him. Rusty tucked beneath one arm. Smells old. Little. No. Tiny pause. Very. Daniel smiled. Very slightly. Gone quickly. Always. The building stretched farther than Sophie expected. Massive open floors. Rusted conveyor systems. Dead production lines. Broken office windows. Water damage. Collapsed insulation. Silence. Heavy silence. The dangerous thing about abandoned places is people stop imagining what they could become. Most people only see what exists. Builders see what doesn't exist yet. Owen stepped beside Daniel. "You still thinking repair systems?" "No." "Industrial consulting?" "No." Daniel. Silence. Cold air moved through shattered windows. "I don't think this becomes one company." Owen looked confused. "What?" Daniel stared quietly across empty production floors, thinking. Always thinking. Then softly. "I think this becomes many companies." Silence. Dangerous silence, the kind Owen Hayes recognized. Years ago. Emma Mercer called it Daniel's blueprint silence. The silence that showed up before impossible things. "You've got a plan." "No, lie, no, bigger lie." Daniel said nothing because honestly he didn't have a plan, not completely, only pieces. Factory systems, energy optimization, small-scale adaptive manufacturing, industrial repair networks, supply chain flexibility. Ideas. Learning possibility. The dangerous thing about learning is eventually, you start seeing connections other people miss. That night, their kitchen table disappeared beneath books, manufacturing systems, business operations, financial modeling, industrial logistics. Licensing structures. Sophie sat nearby finishing homework. Math, science, reading. Normal life. Important life. Dad. "Yeah. You doing homework too?" Little. "No." Tiny pause. Big. Daniel looked up, smiled. Very slightly. Gone quickly. Always. 3 questions, he said. Sophie closed her notebook slowly. Thinking. Always thinking. Question 1. Pause. Can broken things become stronger? Daniel leaned back quietly. Question 1 mattered. Question 1 always mattered. Question 2. She looked toward factory blueprints. Why didn't other people fix East Hollow? Silence. Then, question 3. Very softly. Are we doing something scary? The kitchen felt quieter suddenly. Winter wind touched windows. Emma's framed note hung nearby. Never stop learning. Daniel thought carefully. Children remember answers, especially during hard seasons. Broken things can become stronger, he said quietly. But only when people rebuild them correctly. Sophie wrote carefully, word for word. Question 2. Most people don't fix difficult things because difficult things take time. And question 3. Long silence. Dangerous silence. Real silence. Then, yeah. Her eyes lifted immediately. We are? Yeah. Scared? No. Then what? Daniel looked toward books. Blueprints, bills, factory papers. Risk, future, purpose. Then softly, scary doesn't always mean wrong. That night, after Sophie slept, Daniel opened Emma's learning journal. Page 63, folded corner, old handwriting, Emma's handwriting, years old. Words she'd written during one difficult season long before hospitals, long before fear moved into their lives. People survive by adapting. People grow by learning. People change lives by building. Daniel stared quietly, longer than usual, then reached toward his laptop. Manufacturing licensing requirements, regional development grants, industrial workforce training, adaptive production certifications. The next morning, he called 7 people, former industrial technicians, retired maintenance specialists, machine operators, a systems engineer, 1 electrician, 1 logistics coordinator. 6 said no, 1 said maybe. 3 days later, another maybe, then another. Small movement, tiny movement. Movement anyway. Progress rarely announces itself. It whispers. Christmas arrived quietly that year. No big celebration, no expensive gifts, no extra money, only Sophie, Daniel, Rusty, and dinner beside factory blueprints. Dad. Yeah. Can I ask 1 extra question? Always, she thought carefully. Longer than normal. What are we building? Daniel looked toward East Hollow paperwork, toward Emma's note, toward years behind them, toward years ahead, toward hard seasons, toward possibility. Then quietly, opportunity. Sophie stared, thinking, always thinking. For us? Daniel smiled softly. Small. Real. Bigger than usual. No. Pause. Then, for people who think hard times already decided their future. Outside, snow fell quietly across Cedar Ridge. East Hollow textile manufacturing sat empty, cold, dark, forgotten. Most people drove past it without slowing down, without noticing, without imagining. Daniel Mercer drove past slowly, every single night. Because builders understand something other people don't. The future usually hides inside things everyone else gave up on. People think success arrives loudly. Big headlines, big celebrations, big moments everyone remembers. Most of the time, real success moves quietly, so quietly. People don't notice it until it becomes impossible to ignore. 8 months after Daniel Mercer bought East Hollow Textile Manufacturing, the first production line came alive. Not the whole building, not even close, only one section. 38,000 square feet, fresh lighting, restored flooring, modern adaptive energy systems, rebuilt industrial controls, working machinery, movement, life. The old factory that Cedar Ridge stopped believing in had started breathing again. Daniel stood near Production Bay 1 before sunrise. 10 a.m. Coffee. Notebook. 3 questions. Routine mattered, especially when life finally started changing. Sophie sat near the break room window. Longer hair now. New backpack. Math book open, Rusty beside her. Always beside her. 3 questions, Daniel said. Okay. She looked up, thinking. Always thinking. Question 1. Pause. What happens when people are wrong about you? Daniel smiled slightly. Question 1 felt familiar. Question 2. Can old things become important again? Pause. Then quietly. Question 3. How do people know when they made a mistake? Silence. Dangerous silence. The kind questions create when children accidentally ask adult questions. Daniel leaned quietly against the workbench. The factory hummed softly behind him. Machines moving, systems working, people arriving. 5 employees, then 9, then 14. Small, growing, building. Question 1 first. People are wrong sometimes. Does it matter? Depends. On what? Daniel thought carefully. Whether you believe them. Sophie wrote carefully. Word for word. Emma used to do that. Question 2. Old things matter all the time. Even factories? Especially factories. Question 3 stayed longer. Harder. People know they made mistakes. Daniel looked quietly across East Hollow. Steel motion learning. Opportunity. When they finally understand what they were looking at. Sophie wrote slower this time. Thinking. Always thinking. By spring. East Hollow. Manufacturing systems officially opened. No ribbon ceremony. No newspaper interview. No big announcement. Daniel never liked attention. Never needed it. The factory focused on adaptive industrial support systems, small-scale manufacturing optimization, energy transfer components, regional industrial support contracts, technical repair systems, the kind of work most people never noticed, which made it valuable. The dangerous thing about useful businesses is they solve problems quietly, and quiet solutions spread. 3 contracts became 7. 7 became 11. Workforce expanded. Training programs expanded. 1 apprenticeship, then 3, then 8. Former factory workers returned. People Cedar Ridge thought retirement had already claimed. People Life thought it finished with. Daniel hired them anyway, because Emma believed something Daniel never forgot. People grow when somebody believes they still can. Then June arrived. And with June came Victoria Sterling, CEO, Vanguard Mobility Systems. The woman who never intended to erase Daniel Mercer, only move around him, like companies do, like power sometimes does. Victoria stepped out of a black company SUV. Professional, controlled, sharp. Miles Donovan stood beside her. Same corporate posture, same measured expression, only older now. More tired. The East Hollow parking lot surprised Victoria immediately. Cars, movement, shipping activity, employees, organization, purpose. Not what she expected, not even close. You're quiet, Miles said. I'm thinking about silence. Dangerous silence. The kind intelligent people create when assumptions begin collapsing. Victoria walked slowly through Production Bay 1. Machines moving, workers focused, systems clean, processes disciplined. No wasted movement, no wasted energy. Efficient, very efficient, dangerously efficient. She recognized it immediately, because competence recognizes competence. Daniel Mercer stood near Assembly Line 2. Gray work shirt, rolled sleeves, clipboard talking with technicians, teaching, listening, building. Not managing from distance. Building. Victoria stopped walking. Longer than she meant to. You okay? Miles asked. No. Truth, unexpected truth. He built this. Yes. Silence. Longer silence. He actually built this. People imagine powerful moments happen dramatically. Most don't. Most happen quietly, inside people, where nobody sees. Daniel turned, saw them, said nothing immediately. Victoria Sterling, standing inside East Hollow. Inside something impossible, something forgotten, something rebuilt. Their eyes met. No anger, no bitterness, no revenge, which somehow felt heavier. Mr. Mercer, Victoria said. Daniel, old habit, still there. She nodded slowly. Daniel. Silence, machines moving around them, life moving around them, opportunity moving around them. I owe you something, Victoria said quietly. No. Yes. No. Dangerous silence, the kind that changes people. I made assumptions, Victoria said. Yeah. I thought I understood what mattered. Daniel said nothing, because sometimes people need space to hear themselves clearly. Victoria looked across East Hollow again. People working, learning, building, growing. Something unfamiliar settled quietly inside her. Not guilt, not regret, perspective. Rare thing, dangerous thing. "What is this place really?" she asked softly. Daniel looked quietly toward Sophie. She sat near the office windows. Homework open, Rusty beside her. Learning, always learning. Then toward former factory workers, then apprentices. Then production lines, then finally opportunity. Same answer, still true. Victoria stood quietly. Longer than necessary, long enough to understand something. Her mistake wasn't redevelopment, wasn't expansion, wasn't ambition. Her mistake was believing value only existed where power already lived. That afternoon, before leaving East Hollow, Victoria Sterling made an offer. Not acquisition, not buyout, something else. "Vanguard hosts an innovation summit every year," she said. "I'd like you there." Daniel looked at her quietly, thinking. Always thinking. Outside, summer sunlight stretched across Cedar Ridge, and for the first time in a very long time, someone powerful had finally learned what quiet people can build. People think empires begin with money, big investments, big offices, big opportunities. Most of the time, they don't. Real empires begin quietly, inside kitchens, inside notebooks, inside difficult seasons. People survive when nobody is watching. 6 months. After Victoria Sterling walked through East Hollow manufacturing systems, Cedar Ridge looked different, not dramatically, quietly. The kind of change people only notice after it becomes part of daily life. The old textile factory nobody wanted no longer sat empty. Parking lots filled before sunrise. Loading docks moved constantly. Training classrooms stayed open late. People returned. Opportunity returned. Belief returned. East Hollow manufacturing systems employed 87 people, not thousands. Not yet, but enough. Enough to matter. Enough to change families. Enough to change futures. Daniel Mercer still arrived at 5:10 every morning. Coffee, notebook. 3 questions. Some things grow, some things stay. The routine remained because routines built foundations, and foundations carried weight. That October morning, fog moved slowly across Cedar Ridge. Pennsylvania mornings carried a certain quiet and fall, a kind of stillness, the kind people miss when life gets loud. Sophie sat near East Hollow's training center, older now, 10 years old, longer hair, faster answers, bigger questions. Rusty still sat beside her, always beside her. Some things stay. Dad, yeah. 3 questions. Daniel smiled quietly. Okay. Sophie opened Emma's learning journal, the old one, edges worn softer now. Years living inside paper. Question 1. Why do some people stop believing in themselves? Daniel leaned quietly against the office doorway. Question 1 mattered. Question 1 always mattered. Question 2. Why do hard things happen to good people? Silence. Long silence. Question 3 came softer, more quietly, like important questions often do. How do people build things bigger than themselves? The training center sat empty around them. For now. 30 minutes later, students would arrive, apprentices, machine technicians, young adults, former factory workers learning new systems, people rebuilding lives, learning, always learning. Daniel looked toward classroom windows, workstations, training equipment, possibility. Emma would have loved this room. That thought still hurt, just differently now. Grief changes shape, never disappears. Question 1. People stop believing in themselves, Daniel said softly. When pain starts speaking louder than hope. Sophie wrote carefully, word for word, always. Question 2 stayed longer. Dangerous questions always did. Hard things don't only happen to good people. Silence. They happen to people. That's not fair. No. No, it isn't. Question 3 waited. Biggest question. Most important. Daniel walked quietly toward Emma's framed note, still hanging inside his office. Never stop learning. Same note, different wall, same lesson, different season. Then softly, people build bigger things when they stop building only for themselves. Sophie wrote slower this time. Thinking, always thinking. 10 minutes later, students arrived. Marcus Hill, 22, former warehouse worker, learning industrial systems maintenance. Elena Ramirez, single mother, adaptive manufacturing certification program. Caleb Foster, 19, nearly dropped out. Now top trainee. People rebuilding, people learning, seeds growing, seeds of tomorrow. Daniel walked slowly through East Hollow's education wing. Education wing. That still felt strange. Good strange. Dangerous thing about education. Changes people quietly, until suddenly everything changes. Owen Hayes waited near workshop 2. Coffee. Always coffee. You see local paper? Owen asked. No. Lie. Little lie. No. Tiny smile. Still there. Always. Owen handed over newspaper at front page. Regional Business Spotlight. Headline from closed garage to regional manufacturing leader. Daniel sighed softly. Too much. No. Yeah. No. Tiny pause. Then, read lower. Daniel scanned article quietly. Workforce development. Technical education. Youth apprenticeship expansion. Regional impact training scholarships. Scholarships. Daniel stopped reading. Completely. What? Owen folded arms. County approved it. Silence. Dangerous silence. The Mercer Technical Growth Initiative. Silence. Longer now. Daniel. Nothing. Scholarships. Still nothing. Because some moments hit quietly. Hard. The dangerous thing about promises is sometimes people keep them so long, they forget where they started. Years ago. Hospital room. Late night. Machines. Fear. Emma Mercer lying quietly beside him. Weak. Tired, still smiling somehow. Always smiling somehow. Promise me something. What? Teach her. Silence. Teach her to build things. Pause. Not depend on things. He remembered. Every word. Every pause. Every second. Education matters, Emma whispered. Even when everything else changes. East Hollow wasn't really a factory anymore. Not completely. It was opportunity, learning, purpose, from survival to purpose. Hope in dark seasons. Strength carried quietly. The things Emma believed. The things Daniel almost lost. That evening, sunlight stretched across Cedar Ridge, orange sky. Long shadows, Pennsylvania, settling slowly toward autumn night. Sophie walked beside Daniel outside East Hollow, Rusty tucked beneath one arm. Dad. Yeah. One extra question. Always. She looked toward training center windows, people learning inside, building inside, growing inside. Then softly, did losing the garage ruin everything? Daniel looked quietly across East Hollow, factory lights, classrooms, people, purpose, then toward Emma's note. Still hanging, still teaching, still building. Then quietly, no. Silence. Real silence. The garage taught us how to build. Sophie thought carefully. Always carefully. Then smiled, small. Real bigger now. Life allowed bigger smiles lately. The dangerous thing about difficult seasons is people think they're endings, most of the time. They're foundations. People thought Daniel Mercer built a factory. They were wrong. He built opportunity. He built learning. He built tomorrow. And tomorrow builds everything else. Maybe that's why stories like Daniel Mercer stay with people. Not because he built a factory. Not because he rebuilt a business. Not because someone powerful finally noticed him. But because deep down, every person understands what it feels like to lose something important. A dream, a plan, a season of life, a version of yourself you thought would last forever. Daniel Mercer did not win because life became easy. He won because difficult seasons never convinced him to stop learning, to stop building, to stop believing growth was still possible. even when life looked broken, especially then. And maybe tonight someone watching this needed that reminder. Maybe someone feels stuck, forgotten, overlooked. Maybe someone believes life already decided what their future will become. If that's you, remember this: people can underestimate your situation. People can misunderstand your struggle. People can overlook your potential. Let them. Never let yourself do the same. Keep learning, keep building, keep showing up. Because sometimes, the hardest seasons become foundations. Sometimes, the closed garage becomes the beginning. Sometimes the building people gave up on becomes the place where lives change. And sometimes, what feels like loss quietly becomes purpose. Daniel Mercer built opportunity. He built education. He built tomorrow. But maybe the most important thing he built was proof. Proof that hard seasons do not decide your future. People do. So tonight, call someone you love. Encourage someone rebuilding. Help someone learning. Believe in someone struggling. Plant seeds you may never see grow, because tomorrow belongs to people who keep building anyway. And remember this: hope does not arrive when life becomes easy. Hope arrives when people decide not to quit. This is Life-Changing Stories, where hard seasons become strength, where learning becomes purpose, and where ordinary people change everything.